All right, episode 5, me, Max, and Mike. We're back. Mr. Everything Max Sledd, legendary Larry D, everything legendary, bringing you that me, Max, and Mike podcast. Larry, how you been?
Man, I've been awesome. It's been a great week. My wife and we've really buckled down on, we're turning this fucking bar here, man. We got something strong over here.
Tell us about it.
Well, what we got is Legends Bar and Events. It's down on the Walnut. We're going Walnut Strong. And what Walnut Strong is that ourselves and SkullFace Records have, we really put in a lot to this side of town, and this side of town gets a little action, but like the middle of town is where everything's going.
We got drama over here.
So yeah, exactly. And I feel like we've really turned the corner and really made some shit happen. We've been packed out. Like when we first opened, we were struggling to get people in there. I mean, it was embarrassing. You've seen, man, we had Luke Gallows in there and we had nobody.
I know, and you can see that over on their version of their vlog, the Good Brothers vlog.
And it's like such, what I love about it the most is the growth that I see and the potential into what we have there. And even more, it's something that like we're completely independent. My whole family we're 100% on us.
Living on the hustle, betting on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And like there's no better feeling than to have yourself and your wife just look at each other and go, hey, you know what? Fuck it. We got this opportunity. We've got this opportunity. We got that opportunity. We can work with this people. We can help. That's what we do with Nick. Him and Brittany are great people, and just being next door, being able to collaborate, being able to work. Nick comes over there and helps with the music, and he does DJ and karaoke, and it's just, man, it works. We've been packed out this last month on Friday and Saturdays, really.
Yeah, you guys had what? You had Rod Run. Yeah. They had bike night or bike weekend there, where it was bikes everywhere. Right. You guys had the ghost walk, the ghost tour through not just Cynthiana, but right through the bar itself.
That's just a build, man. There's so much coming to that, to where it's like we're just barely scraping the surface of potential of what we got. But I'm going tomorrow after we close tomorrow at the bar. I'm going on my very first ghost hunt.
Oh, wow. What's that going to consist of?
I'm going to find a motherfucker and say, let's go, man. But really, it's,
Larry
I'm
D
excited.
Is a Ghostbuster right there.
Yeah.
News at 11.
Yeah, I'm excited. Dude, what if I could get the fucking suit? It's like... I
think there would be copyright issues, but if we could just change it just enough, we could probably avoid those issues.
Maybe. Well, you know how they used to do like Doink the Clown, but they're like, the world famous wrestling clown's coming to Huntington, West Virginia. And I can be like, the world famous ghost hunter's coming to Legends Bar. This is my first ghost experience. Like, I really, honestly, I never really gave it a chance.
Do you believe in the paranormal? Do you believe something else is out there?
Man, I used to think it was bullshit. Like my kids would love when they was kids, and they would be really into ghost hunters, and taps and all that shit. And like that was something that was introduced completely by Paige. I never believed in it and all that, but it always piqued my interest, I guess. So I believe that I know from opening the bar, I've seen a few things myself over there, and I've heard a few stories over there, and I'm excited to go see what I can find tomorrow with the crew.
Well, let's find out now. These are some interesting things that I don't know about. Tell me what you've seen over there. Tell me some of these stories.
Well, me personally, I remember by the pool table area, I was looking like catty corner. If you're into the bar where the entrance is, there's a door. Like if you ever watch the wrestling events, where they come out the curtain.
Yeah.
There's a door behind there that goes in the back. And that door used to not be on there before Calvin put it on. And I was talking to Calvin and I could see over his shoulder. And like, I don't know, it was just a real quick, like, whoosh, but it was like
that sound effect.
Yeah. It was like a black blob. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't even like shaped. It was just like if I could tell you what it looked like, the only thing, you ever play Pac-Man?
I have.
Or, where you go around and then you got
Did it look like one of those ghosts? Because that would be a very interesting ghost.
It was for real like black and like flowing.
Maybe you keep a Pac-Man in the bar, and but then anytime a ghost shows up, the Pac-Man
here's
eats
a cheap
him.
pop though. Nick has a Pac-Man game that we're going to try to get in there, and like, yeah, man, we're amping it up, and that's the last month. my hustle has been directly with Paige to make the bar where it's at and how it's growing, and like, you know, a fully now my life is built around how I can, but the bar is I'm 100% there every day. She's 100% there every day. I talk to Nick. I mean, we're always collaborating. We're always pitching ideas to make this really stout, because he's got a really, like, man, my daughter, you know, that she's been playing the guitar, and she's been coming to SkullFace Records last night, and, you know, the last 3 weeks, learning how to play the electric guitar. So last night was the first night that I actually got to come in here and watch what the fuck she could do.
How was that?
Man, I really, it make me sound like a punk, but like, man, it hurt in a good way, because like I had a lump in my throat, like how proud I was just in 3 weeks. Is like Nick was playing the drums, like ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, and she was she played the fucking opening to like Eminem's 8 Mile.
Oh, that's awesome. I love to hear that.
What was the Metallica rip she was learning? Nothing else matters. And like, she gets it. Like, dude, I love it, because she struggled so much with our town over, and we lived in Georgetown, and there were just some fucking assholes, man. And like,
all right, Georgetown City assholes.
Well, no, I'm just saying is like, you know, when it comes in regards to my daughter and her mental health, fuck yeah, they were assholes, man.
The school system and kids in the school system, not everybody, but there's so much that goes on, man, that you don't know about until it happens to you.
Like, you gotta look at it like, what's more important here? I'm really fucking putting my daughter's mental health at risk here by not pulling her. And like, my wife and I, Paige's, man, you know, this was tough, because we was worried that she'd start a new school system, but she's fell right in, and she's like, she has more friends now than I ever remember, and she's genuinely happy to go to school, and that makes me happy, you know.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And then, you know, it's good to not only have that kind of, you know, like a support system, and to have friends and have people that support you. And we know that she's got a caring, loving family, and that you guys provide for all your kids. But it's always good to have that outlet as well, like being able to play the guitar, or
she's definitely
activities
full of energy
and stuff. Yeah, she's a good kid. Dude, you've got some good kids.
Did you see the fucking reel that I put up the other day when we came home?
No, I didn't see it.
So we randomly come home, you know, and we're running down the street. We come back, and you go to my Facebook and see, but like, she's dressed in a fucking like mouse or like a donkey outfit or something. And like, she takes a bra and puts on the outside of this donkey outfit, and then she paints a beard on her face for no fucking reason. And I come home and I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on here? I just didn't think y'all were coming home this early.
You just have to imagine what would have happened if you hadn't got home. I know, what was the plan?
What kind of fucking shit's going on here? But yeah, man, I enjoy it. I love the teenage years, even though they always argue and they fight and they love each other, and you know, it's great being a dad. I told you, I think the other week is like, I enjoy being Larry D, but I really love being Larry DAD, man.
I'm telling you, I think that's a T-shirt right there.
It is, yeah. So, but yeah, well, what are you talking about today? Is what you got for me?
You know, the thing is we're talking about all this optimism and all of this excitement and what you've got going on. But we're going to take a step back to the past, and we're going to get to the end of the road.
Oh,
you know, the last little bit of the impact run.
Yeah.
We talked about making an impact, and I guess by the end of this episode, we'll know if you made that impact or if the impact is yet to come.
We'll see about all that, but first, we must pay some bills. We'll be right back.
All right.
Right here at SkullFace Studios.
It's Joe's Kitchen. Buy your stuff from SkullFace Records. Get off your asses and do it. SkullFace Records.
All right. right, we're back, and we're going to be talking about the end of the road. We can't do that without jumping to February 23rd. You talked about Luke Gallows, and it was on that date that you and AC got your first match against the Good Brothers. We've talked about Carl Anderson, Chad Allegra. We've talked about Luke Gallows. Talk about that match. Talk about the experience and what you think about the Good Brothers.
Man, I love the Good Brothers. My favorite people to be around. And, you know, those guys were mecca stars, you know, and they came in and just being across the sheet from them, I knew that if nothing else, I absolutely knew we was going to lose, but I also knew that we was going to have some good eyes on us. You know, a lot of eyes was because everyone, they love the brothers, man. Great people.
I really like the fact that, you know, regardless, you're in there with Chad, Carl Anderson, and we know that you guys are friends. You go way back. And regardless of win, lose, or draw, he was going to give you little shine moments, at least a little something. If it's 5-10 minutes, there's still going to be a little bit of spotlight put on you because he wants people to look at you. The Good Brothers, They wanted nothing but success for 100%. You there in Impact. And I remember there was one spot where you machine gunned Carl Anderson, where you shot at him. And, you know, it's pretty cool. It's just a little moment where it's like, hey, you know, you may not be doing much of nothing, but the eyes are on you.
Yeah, of course, you know, and it's like that was my moment in the light with the brothers, you know, and just being in there with them, getting to mix it up, and I felt completely comfortable. You know, a lot of people I see, like, oh, there's the brothers, they're nervous and everything. Like I remember when Chad first came to TV, and I was coming out of Wrestle House, and like you could Chad's a star, man, like. That guy, he, you see it. You remember Squared Circle Expo? He walked in and just the room stopped and looked. You know, he is the part that, you know, he's the star that he is. You know. Yeah,
and he's always been so down to earth. The thing that I love about Chad Allegra is that, you know, we've known him since he was just Chad Allegra, since he had just started training, and he's always been that guy.
Did I tell you the story about that when he did walk into TV and like I'm sitting there with like the rest of the jobbers?
It's like, please go back to your corner, Mr. D. Yeah. You don't know these guys. No eye contact.
It's like I'm just sitting over there with the extras and the tried and true groups. Like, yeah, we're going to get in there, I think, today.
Larry, don't you touch him.
But like he walks in and like, you know, he's like, fucking Larry D, what? And he grabs me up in a big hug and he's like, man, room's 7:30. Come up and drink with us. We'll catch up. It's good to see you. And like he walks away and then everybody's like, what the fuck was that? You know, because they had no idea that we had like known each other for years. And you know, everyone's like, well, what? Now you're going to hang with the brothers. Now you're going to hang with the brothers.
It's like, man, I've been hanging with the brothers since day one.
You're I've always known, man, you know, but Gallows, the first time I met Gallows was through Chad, and that was down at Impact. And man, it was like I had known him for 20 years, you know, like we had never missed a beat from time we shook hands, and it was great. You know, and yeah, they wanted to make me look good. They helped me tremendously. I love those guys.
Yeah, the thing is like their title or their niche is they're called the Good Brothers.
Yeah,
but genuinely, both of those guys are the definition. If there was a dictionary and it said Good Brothers, their picture would be next to it because they love to brother it up. Yeah. They love to, you know, go, like you said, go back to the room and watch wrestling, talk wrestling. Those guys are brothers.
Oh, like, yeah,
there is no other definition for them other than Good Brothers.
And you would think like they're a wild party. So it's just you watch your bad matches. You find you go to Gallows' room and you find your worst match. And you like we watched Chad and I from Paris, Kentucky, you know, in Gallows' room. That's just good times, man. They're great people.
My favorite thing about that match is I was there that night, and when they were announcing Chad and he was getting ready to go out, he looked at us and he goes, nobody here fucking knows me. And then he went through the curtain and was like, come on, let's go Paris. And those people just, they clapped, and you guys went out there and you got down. And I think later on you all came back to a tag match with, I think Roger Ruffin was maybe your partner, and maybe Scott Hayes was Chad.
Scott, it was Scott with Chad, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember they were going over a spot, and just casually Chad's talking with Roger, and he just goes, yeah, we'll do this, power bomb, we'll do this. And Roger goes, whoa, go back. What did you say? And he goes, oh, you know, I said, we'll do this. He goes, no, after that. he goes, oh, power bomb. And then he goes on, and Roger goes, whoa, back. Did you say power bomb? He goes, oh, cool. Yeah, I'll just call it to you out there. Good stuff. I love Chad Allegra. I remember when he first went to New Japan, I would constantly talk to him online and just say hey man, I'm so proud of you. Hope everything's going good there. When he got his family, I remember messaging him frequently, just being hey, so proud of you. Hope your wife's doing good. Hope your son's doing good.
Of course.
All sorts of stuff. The only thing that I would do that I think drove him crazy is randomly I would say, what time is it? And he'd say, what do you mean, what time is it? And I'm like, what time is it? I know what time it is here. What time is it in Japan? He would always tell me, but such a good guy.
Yeah, man, I love those guys.
I love Chad Allegra.
It's cool, too. It's we're talking about me wrestling Chad those years ago in Paris, Kentucky, and then getting the opportunity to do it on national television in front of the red light. That's pretty cool little come around, I feel.
Yeah, and this is a guy that we talked about, if you want to step up in this business, obviously we have a school, Legends Pro Wrestling Academy, but if I was to endorse any other school, if I were to say you want to make it in this business, the place to go is Bone Crushers Academy. If you go to Bone Crushers, Roger Ruffin, he refereed at WrestleMania. He refereed Brett versus Roddy Piper. This is a guy that was there when Randy Savage is tied up in the ropes.
Yeah,
and Jake Roberts
the
put
fucking
the snake on him.
Yeah.
Nobody knows this business quite like Roger Ruffin, and there is no give up there. There's signs all over the wall that tells you there is no give up. That's the only thing you're not allowed to do there.
Well, look at just the success rate alone that comes out of there.
Yeah, with Jordan Clearwater, who we saw this past week.
I think he's going to be a major star. I feel like Jordan Clearwater is just now grooming his, he's just now starting to reach a little bit of his potential there at the NWA, but I feel like he's going to have that stepping stone, and we're going to see him on a major stage. He's got the dedication, the hard work, he's got everything.
Yeah, and we talked about it, that the guys that he trains there, you can go from the top to whatever. You've got Chad Allegra, you got Jillian Hall, Jordan Clearwater, Abyss, Chris Harris, all these guys that come out of there so humble. They do not come out of there and know what level star they are. I saw Jordan last week, and the first thing he did was hug me and say, hey, I had to come over. I saw Chad, Square Circle Expo, same thing. You see Abyss, he's a Hall of Famer. He's won the NWA title. He now works for the WWE. I see him, big hug every single time. Roger Ruffin's doing something right up there at Bone Crushers.
And they should also tell you about the talent pool in the area. Is man, if there's such talented potential walking around the streets right now that don't even know how much money they could probably make if they gave it the chance.
That's it, man. If you're willing to work hard, you're willing to do what it takes to make it in this business, there are people like us. There are people like Roger Ruffin who will get out of you what is inside. If you're willing to do the work and you're willing to get there, by God, your dreams will stop being dreams. You'll wake up and you'll look over and you'll say, man, that's not my dream. That's my reality.
Of course. And then you get to take a magic killer right there from them.
That's it. Right. And the thing is, it didn't stop there. March 2nd, you came back and you guys teamed with your friends Reno Scum.
Yeah.
And you took on them and Finn Juice.
Yeah.
This right here is like New Japan royalty at the time. Finn Juice, Good Brothers, huge in New Japan. Here they are. They're in Impact Wrestling, and they're working you guys in an 8-man tag. What's your memories of working with Finn Juice?
Man, Finn Juice was great. They're such talented, guys, and just getting to talk to them and know them beyond wrestling is, they put a lot of work in, especially at that time is, they're gone all that time to Japan, and then they don't see their girlfriends, their fiancés, their kids for, 30 days at a time, 90, sometimes months. And then just to come back a day or two to go back to do Impact tapings. But man, you could tell they were really good, when you upon first just presence, you can tell that those guys know what they got. They can fucking go, and I knew who they were, and just sharing it. And that, again, very courteous, very kind. Did not they had every right and could have easily came in there and said, Larry D, just boom, 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 take this, go out, tag your partner. But they really took their time to make sure that I looked good as I could, even though we were enhancing them.
Yeah, who was your favorite out of Finn Juice? Did you like Finley? or would you?
Finley was great, but man, Brother Juice was the man. Yeah,
Juice is the man.
We would like he was. I remember when I got to Vegas, and I got out of my Uber and I opened the door. As I was coming in the door, he was coming out, and he's like, fucking Larry D. And like you could tell he was genuinely happy to see me because he thought like I had been gone for so long. He thought, no, I was just fucking not coming back and this, that, and another, and just genuinely happy to see me and catching up and talking about life. And then we talked about wrestling.
Yeah. Well, you have to think at least when they could have put anybody in those situations with those high quality tag teams. You know, you're working with the Good Brothers, you're working with Finn Juice. Not only did you work the Good Brothers, you worked the 8-man, then you came back and you guys had a tag just against Finn Juice. You have to think that at least if creative had nothing as far as a direction, they at least knew who to put into that match to get the most out of that high quality talent. So they must have thought you guys were pretty good talent yourselves.
I would like to think so. I mean, I feel like in order to put you in there with those guys, they would have to have some sort of trust in you. But also, I mean, you're a contracted professional wrestler, for crying out loud. Let's go in there and tie our boots up and do the same. No offense to those guys. They might have bigger stardom, but, I can go with any of those guys, and I'm sure AC felt the same. Or at least I would like to think he did.
Yeah, so, I mean, really big tag team matches, but one of your most high-profile singles matches came up after that, and that was on March 30th. You got to get into the ring with Sami Callihan one-on-one, and I know that you felt really good about this match and that you felt like it was a highlight for your singles career and just a small taste. We've talked about it several times. You were in there with Elgin. You were able to give him a small taste. You were in there with Tommy Dreamer. You were able to give him a little bit bigger taste. Now you're in there with Sami Callihan. And there were so many glimpses of what Larry D could do. Tell us about the match with Sami Callihan.
Sammy's always been great. I can't thank Sammy enough for what he's done to help get me there, because I know that he was really big on early getting me eyes on me. And I knew that when we were to work with each other, that he would really do his part to make me, look as good as possible, because that's what he would want. He wants his guys to flourish. He wants guys to, that he recommends to come in to do well. And we've always had a really good friendship to where it's not like he's, little old me that's coming there, just they know what we were there for. We're enhancing, but they could very easily just bulldog us around. But guys like Sammy, guys like the brothers, they didn't do that. Finn Juice, none of those guys done that. They, at least on my end, I felt that they done their very best to make sure that I, as Larry D, looked the best that I could. He gave me a lot. He's former Impact World Champion. I feel like it showed that I can go, and I was really high. My confidence was really at all time. It was a big level there.
How did you feel that you guys' trajectory was going at this point?
Oh, yeah.
Did you think like, okay, hey, we're in there with some of the top guys, and hey, I'm working Sami Callihan, former champion.
Yeah.
Did you feel like, hey, this right here, this is I know I talked to you at several points because we worked out. We talk almost every day, and there were so many times that you're sitting there and you are busting it in the gym. You're sending the pictures of how you're progressing with your body. You are thinking right. You're coming up with ideas. You're getting new gear almost every single week. You're going back to tapings. You're looking good. You got new gear.
Right.
And I know that you had to think, man, I am giving it all I've got. And it's going to turn any minute now. We're going to start being off to the races.
I felt like that was that turning point. I felt like we had came out of all that Wrestle House. We came out of everything like that, and now they're seeing now. Okay, look at this. Because AC was in the gym working hard as well, and I had an opportunity to get out there and show what I could do. And to me, I felt like I think I even told just like for the first time ever at Impact Wrestling, I felt like, man, we could really work hard enough and keep doing what we're doing. We could be the Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champions, at one point. And I felt like we're getting ready to, they're testing it. They're showing us. I don't know. I felt like I was out there killing it with those, with Sammy for sure.
Man, and I tell you, if you go back and you watch, we talk about every week, hey, make sure you subscribe to the Impact Plus app. Make sure you get that network. check out all of Larry D's matches, plus, go back and see all of the great matches that Impact Wrestling and TNA has to offer. I can't talk, good enough about that. But if you go back and you look, there's an evolution period from the time that you get there, and progressively as you watch, that gear keeps getting better and better and more fire and more fire. And, at first, I can't remember if you guys were just in the tights. Not sure when you guys got into like the mechanic type shirts.
We first got there. Like I said, we didn't know that we was going to be a tag team until that first February in Lexington, Louisville.
Yeah, and didn't have the matching gear yet.
And then March was our TV date, so we didn't have enough time to get matching gear. So we went to that first TV. I had blue tights. He had his gold and black tights, and we're just another thrown together tag team, I felt our appearance was. But once we got down to the empty sets and we had 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and Sammy hooked us up with a nice gear maker, and they look phenomenal. They're actually hanging on the wall over there at the bar.
Make sure you stop by Legends Bar and Events. You got to take a look at all the cool stuff on the wall. We'll talk about that more later, but go ahead.
I've had a bunch of sets of gear in my time, a lot. But like that black and white set of gear meant a whole hell of a lot to me, because like that's TV gear right there. Like I've had good gear, but like that's TV gear right there.
Yeah, to this day you still have like the gauntlets and everything looks really good.
Zodiac does a great job at making my gear now.
Yeah, hype those people up, the people that are making that gear.
I can't remember who Sammy's guy was, and I hate that I don't know exactly, because Sammy was the one that got it. But I know that my gear 99.9% of the time comes from Zodiac, who makes great gear. He's got decent turnaround, really good pricing, and just a good individual to talk to. And he's really good at if you're struggling with how something, he'll throw some ideas at you. And then, it makes it work. I'm very blessed to have him being so close to me, to where he hand delivers my gear. We're so close.
Yeah. How can we get in touch with him? If anybody out there wants that good gear, we always talk about when we're training people that you have to invest in yourself. And that includes going out and getting gear. You see a lot of these guys, they go out there and everybody has that High Spots gear, or everybody has that already made E-Lucha gear. Go ahead and spend that little bit of extra to get $100 pair of really good tights, or to get your logo or your name. Just something that sets you aside from everybody else, because the thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look at you, and if you look like you've already been there, you've already convinced me. We say hype is reality, and the reality is that, man, I don't know who you are, but you sure look special.
I immediately had people asking, like, you new gear this loop? Where you got this loop? So, I especially when I got into wearing like trunks and stuff, I only got to wear, trunks once on Impact Television. But man, when I was in the trunks, I was getting a new pair, 2 or 3 a month.
I think it might have been right before Bound for Glory. If not, just clarify for me. But I remember there was a picture that you put up on Facebook, and I think you stood up on your bed.
The red gear?
Yeah, and you took that picture, and it looked so good. Yeah. Your body was hitting, your gear was hitting, and right there it was like, this guy here, not only does he want it, this man is TV ready.
Right, I felt great there. And and from there, my confidence continued to build to where it's like, I know I'm ready. They know I'm ready. They know what I'm capable of. They're going to they're going to give me something.
That's it. Because whether it's tag team wrestling, singles wrestling, whether it was doing,
and I say me as in we or me.
Yeah.
No offense.
That's what I was getting to, is like, whether it's, the TV matches, singles matches, tag matches, whether they're having you do Lawrence D, whatever it is, you were firing at your best. You were giving them everything you had. It's my job. Whatever they asked for, it didn't matter. They could have said, hey, you're the guy that lets people in at the tapings. Like the bar goes up and you check their ID and let them through the gate. And my God, you'd have been the best gate checker that they ever had.
I agree.
You were firing with all cylinders. And I want to talk more about that right after we get back from these commercial messages.
Pay them bills, boys.
Thanks everyone for tuning in to SkullFace Records Radio. Please enjoy all the newest and hottest podcasts like Me, Maxx, and a Mic, hosted by Mr. Everything, Max Sledd, and the best hand in the house, legendary Larry D. They discuss life as a wrestler and Larry D's experiences with Impact Wrestling. Don't miss one single episode of Me, Maxx, and a Mic podcast series, Making an Impact. KPRIS with SkullFace Records presents where Nichimes and Travis Franklin explores and investigates the most haunted areas of Cynthiana, Kentucky. Falls and Power Chords. Hosted by Michael Lynn Watkins and Nichimes. They listen to the best underground metal from all over the world and discuss mainstream professional wrestling. Don't miss the weekly CD of a Week by Michael Lynn Watkins, and then the Battle of the Bands.
Mix Mayhem Music Review.
A fun and entertaining podcast that highlights unheard music from all over the world, being discussed and broke down by Nichimes and Ryan the Lion Lochner. Don't miss the video of the week and all the great tunes on
Mix Mayhem Music Review.
Tune in to Live with Nick Nasty, where you'll hear all the latest news with anything associated with
SkullFace Records /radio.
A monthly top 10 show, and you never know who will be the next big guest sitting in the studio with Nichimes. Live with Nick Nasty. Please subscribe and share. All of our podcast shows are available on Spotify and all major podcast providers. Don't forget about our Bandcamp, where you can hear all the music. SkullFace Records Radio.
SkullFace Records Radio.
All right, we're back, and I'm not sure if you got that in before we had went to break, but how can you get in touch with Zodiac for that gear?
You can reach out to Michael Zodiac on Facebook, and you can't miss him. He's also, he's a wrestler. He's active. You can't miss him. He's in the mask, and he's just great gear maker. I wish I had his email. I wish I had more than that, because he's very deserving of the projects that can get sent his way.
That's right, and you can always message us as well if you can.
I will 100% put you in touch with him. If you message me, he deserves all the praise he can get because he's a great gear maker.
Yeah, hit us up on social media or go right over to the Me, Maxx, and the Mic podcast page right there on Facebook. Send us a message. Also, remember while you're there, send in your questions every week. Me, Maxx, and the Mic, Larry D, and myself, we will answer anything. We love it. That's it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share it, because we can't do this without each and every one of you. We were talking about your run there, but you could say the go home run.
Yeah, man.
There in Impact Wrestling.
Final leg.
And we had talked about you and Sami Callihan having a match. You all actually came back on April 8th and had a tag match where he brought his partner Trey Miguel, and they were kind of doing an odd couple tag team. They were feuding. They teamed up as partners, and they faced you and AC. Obviously, we don't have to go into the win-loss on that, let's talk about the match.
There really wasn't much to it, though. I mean, it was basically to get over the fact that they were disgruntled and Sammy's trying to torture him, when they're, like say the odd couple, I guess you would say, and we just needed to go out there and hit what we needed to get them over on TV. So I can't remember anything like with Sammy. I remember hitting that discus lariat. I remember moments with Sammy of like grabbing. I can't really say that. The only thing I remember about that was just that we were just there to get to advance their storyline.
Yeah. How was it to work with Trey when he is teamed with like Sammy, as opposed to you had faced him before multiple times as a member of the Rascals, and it's a different dynamic. Obviously, you face the Rascals; they're flying all over the place. They're going 100 miles an hour. This is a more serious Trey Miguel,
it's more slowed down.
Aggressive,
he's a fighter. Yeah, he's a fighter. Yeah,
and their tag team chemistry. Obviously, they're telling that story that they don't get along, And here you guys are just trying to take advantage of that, and somehow they come together, they get the win.
Yep.
But anything different about that match? Or
No, not really.
Just
I
it was
mean,
more of a
just-
storyline
I
progression.
think I've worked with the guys for so long. It's just another day in the office with them, you know. And like I say, I could sit here and tell you about the Sammy gig and on the match, but I knew the business was if I remember, it's a very short segment. It really got to just a very small bit of action that led to them over us and segment over.
Yeah, May 15th, we went into Under Siege. We talked about that they have these special monthly like pay-per-views
Right.
that aren't to the full public, like they're not offered out on pay-per-view. If you have Impact Plus app, I think you might be able to also get it on Fight. They offer these little specials, and this was Under Siege, and it was you and AC taking on Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. Any memories of that match, or just those guys in general? I don't think we've talked much about Ace Austin and Madman Fulton.
Yeah, they're great guys. Ace Austin is super talented. I've said this before. I think he's going to be a very rich man by the end of his time in pro wrestling. He's super talented. Madman Fulton, obviously a big, huge monster. He's been around the world. As far, again, same. I think it was just big man spot and Ace running around AC, things like that. I think it just got to the point of just so basic enhancing there towards the end when we were tagging that it really didn't, there wasn't much focus on much of just, okay, y'all go make them look good. You know,
Do you feel
that's when I knew it was kind of like, okay, I'm starting to like feel a little fucking unappreciated. Like I've killed myself, like I've been busting it. Like, give me something.
Yeah,
know?
that's what I was going to ask you. Is like we just talked about you're in these high profile matches. You're in there with Sami Callihan. You're in there with the Good Brothers. You're in there with Finn Juice, and then all of a sudden. Now it's just like, just we talk about all the time is like when you are in a creative position, like what we are with like Gen Next Wrestling, you want to be a guy that is written for, not written in.
Well, I think that we were written in.
Yeah.
I think that, yes, I think what we did with and I'm blessed. I'm 100% blessed to be able to get the opportunities that I did. But I think what we're talking about is like anyone could have gotten in and they could have saved money and put anyone in there, really.
How does that make you feel? They're paying you all
It's
that money.
hurtful.
They're flying you in. And
you set all that aside.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of all that. That's great. I'm blessed. But man, at the end of the day, it's like I want to do what I know I can fucking do.
Definitely has to hurt like the ego and the pride for sure.
Man, it kills you. Like it eats you up because you still have to uphold like, hey, I'm good. Everything's good. But man, inside you're like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? It's like I've given my life for this. I've quit my job. My wife's here. We're it's like everything's, but I can't. I'm working hard. I'm working hard as I ever have, and I'm living the best I have. And I put all that aside. I know what I can do in the ring, and like all of that. It was just so mentally draining. To like you just get there. It's like I know I can bust through it. Just somebody open and give me something. I can't force anyone to give me any sorts of creative. I don't have that clout. Obviously they didn't give a fuck. I feel to if I was there or not. But I knew I could do much more. I knew I could.
And the unknown is so mentally draining. I know that you didn't know from month to month or taping to taping if they were going to use you,
No,
if they were going to bring you in, what they were going to do.
I think the frustrating part was that, like, you really have to work hard out here to fill these dates, and now when you work, it's not like I'm working for $20 no more. I have a family to feed on this. I've quit my job. I've quit something that I was a part of for, I don't know, I was a welder, 15, 16 years.
Yeah, a long time. And then you bet on yourself and you were in Impact Wrestling. You thought, hey, we're off to the races. Now you're doubting yourself. It's like, do I have to go back and, tuck my tail and say, hey, I failed at this? Or
I did. I felt like a failure. I felt like an embarrassment. I felt like I did an injustice to my family. It's like, what the fuck, man? What have I done here? But I still don't feel like there was anything like personally. I just feel like it was just business. They didn't have anything to fit us in, and maybe they didn't want to buy the flights, and but like I say, it's hard to fill those dates. And when I was getting production emails, so you don't feel. To me, it's like, there's our TV dates. Okay, I'm not going to fucking fill this weekend. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be the guy that hey man, I'm sorry, I got to do these Impact tapings. You know, I can't be at your show, even though, you know, I've committed to you before, you know, and then to get 5 or 7 days out to realize like, hey, am I, you know, I'm not hurting. Like I usually have flight details by now. And it's like, well, let me call you back. And then 3 days later, it's like, oh, you know, you were originally on the first draft and then creative came back and you're off, but you know, stay in good shape. And I think you guys are on the next one. And then it's kind of the same gig every month. It's like, boom, you get so excited. Like I'm ready to cut loose. Look at me. I'm ready. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
You just, motherfucker, you know,
no matter how good you are, no matter how hard you work, in the gym, in the ring, you could be your best self and still, regardless how hard you work, you have no control over there's somebody there with a pen or that's making decisions that it doesn't matter how hard you work. It's whether they see it or whether they see it and then have something creatively lined up. I've said it for years. Sometimes the best wrestler in the world is some guy you've never heard of ever in this entire world, but it's the guy that they came up with. That's the guy that you know.
Yeah, I'm not sure really if there was ever plans for us to be mega, you know, top tier tag team. I'm not sure if the plan was just to be what we were. You know, there were so many people that came in and out of there. It's easy to get lost in the mix, especially if something happens that keeps you out of a loop and then you're out of sight, out of mind, and you're fucked. And I really feel like that got us.
How would you say, I guess I'll state it like this. What are the benefits and what are the, I want to make sure that I word this properly. We know that you are on a per appearance deal.
Yes.
And a lot of people, they don't think about that. They think, oh, wow, you got this cool contract. They're going to pay you, fly you all over the world. What are the benefits and what are the, I'm trying to think. I don't want to say the wrong word for the opposite, but tell us about that per appearance deal and how it can be a good thing and how it can be a bad thing.
Well, here's the thing, man. It's like my advice to anyone that gets offered a contract of sorts is like, really, let's take the excitement of like, oh fuck, I've been offered a deal. I get to sign this piece of paper that says I fucking am the man. You know, I've made it.
And if you ain't there and you ain't working, you ain't getting paid.
You don't really, you know, because we're so used to as independent wrestlers going out and you know, not making a lot of money and just hustling and you know, shows are canceled all the time. But you know, when you make it to that level, you would think like, okay, now I can really. This is my job now. It's not that I'm an independent wrestler on the weekends or third Wednesday through whatever. I mean, I think I was a little different before I had gotten my deal. I was different. I'd done it different. I was still 6 days a week involved in pro wrestling, not signed. But, you know, when you do sign that deal, you do think, well, life's getting ready to get better for me. And it did. But when you realize it did when I was on the sets, let's say, how about that? Like it was fucking great whenever I was on the loops and, you know, I was active still on TV.
That's it. And I remember you being like, hey, win, lose or draw, I just want to be there.
Yeah.
Just let me be there because if I just get the opportunity to be there, I'm going to show you what you're missing out on. I'm going to show you what I can do.
So, I mean, I didn't really feel the crunch of the per appearance until, you know, we was off of TV. You know, I was still making, you know, my rate on the indies, but, you know, you add in those TV loops, you're making pretty good money. You know, I was making money I've never made in my life before, you know, even off TV. So you could imagine when I was on TV, you know, on top of that, how great it was. But then you start to lose that per appearance, you know, it's like, fuck, I'm losing this money now. And then now you're off TV and then you got people saying, are you still with Impact? You know, and it's like, well, yeah, man, let me wear my tracksuit to let everybody know that I'm still under contract with Impact Wrestling. You know, it's embarrassing. It was to the point that it was embarrassing that you know, there's a live pay-per-view going of Impact and there's folks in the dressing room watching the Impact fucking pay-per-view. and I'm sitting next to them, and they're claiming that I'm the Impact Wrestling star. But no one knew there was even a pay-per-view going. When's next time's Impact on? They just seen the Impact logo by my name, and he's a TV guy. Not knowing there's a pay-per-view going live that they don't know about, that I'm fucking not on.
How tense were those conversations with D'Lo Brown? I know you guys had to go back and forth so many times, and he was such a proponent of yours and wanted the best for you and gave you great advice. And
he's just doing his job. I couldn't get upset with him at all. I love D'Lo. I don't think it ever got tense. I mean, the only time that like I really was like, was on January the 3rd. It was my daughter's birthday. It was her 4th birthday or 3rd birthday. And, I'm sitting there thinking like, damn, we're like less than a week out and I've not gotten anything. And I had been off for a while, and I just got back to Vegas, and then I was back, and then thought I was on the Fort Lauderdale loop, and I called him, and he's like, well, man, you're not on. I was like, man, I think it's best maybe I just go ahead and ask for my release. And I ain't got no heart. I hadn't talked to Paige about it. I hadn't talked to you about it. I haven't talked to my dad about it. None of that. It was just, I was standing on my front porch, and I just felt like, man, you got this is great that you've accomplished this, you signed this contract deal and everything. But when you sit through it, and when you're actually in the midst of it, it's great that you signed that deal. But with everything positive, you got to go through some rough patches, and that was a real rough patch. And even harder knowing that I had a year left on my deal, that my contract, that I could have waited and still been wearing my fucking Impact suit and going around to the indie shows while they were still on live television.
Hey, that's it, man. And, did you think they sold you a bill of goods, or do you think that it just is things happen the way they're meant to happen?
Well, I mean, I'm not at all going to like knock them, because once I signed that deal, I mean, if it wasn't for December the 19th or what the date was at No Surrender, if Scott D'Amore didn't step foot in that ring and give me that deal, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you right now. I wouldn't have that bar next to me over here. I'd still have to be out there at Qualex welding, and I would have to, be still doing the old dad stuff, running the indies, thinking that I'm going to make it at 38. I don't think I would have the mindset that I have now in regards to pro wrestling. I don't think that I would be able to pass the knowledge that I'm able to pass on to our students over at the academy. I don't think I would understand it the way that I understand it in the ring and out of the ring. I think that it's done nothing but good for me, but that doesn't mean that I'm still not inside like, man, I got so much more left there at Impact that I could have done, and you guys didn't give me the chance to fucking show you. That's just where it's at,
Yeah, and somebody that's going to have a chance to show us what they're all about are these commercial breaks. All right, here we go. We're going to roll a commercial.
Would you like to donate money to our cause?
Shit ain't free, man.
This stuff takes money.
Every little bit helps.
We can do a commercial for your business.
You can make you money, and then we can make money.
Want to sponsor a segment or one of our shows?
Want to get famous, man?
Want to sponsor a show?
Multiple mentions, all kinds of publicity.
Email us, skullfaceradio@gmail.com.
Don't forget the social medias.
Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/SkullFace Records Radio.
Listen to SkullFace Records Radio.
I love rock and roll. This is BK Hines, and you can hear me on SkullFace Records Radio.
So we're back, and before we get into all of that, we kind of jumped ahead just a little bit. Triple XL wasn't over quite yet. We had a series of events where you guys go into Swingers Palace. Tell us about your adventure into Swingers Palace and the little vignettes and clips.
It was a time that we could show our range a little bit outside of the ring. I felt like it was a little something, I felt like at that point I was like, okay, now we're back in the mix a little bit because they're giving us backstage vignettes. We got some pre-tapes. you know, maybe it's our time's coming around right at that point. And again, it was just, you know, build them up, knock us down, build them up, knock us down. It was, I don't think we ever had our build up, if that makes sense. It's like we may have gotten a win, or maybe we lost and then attacked someone after, you know, post match, and then go into, you know, like a little semi pay-per-view just to put them over clean again. You know, I don't feel like there was ever, you know, that serious, like we can build these guys.
Do you remember anything about those Swingers Palace episodes? I know that you guys went in there to drink. And other than that, I don't remember a lot about it. But the main reason we talk about it is because these episodes of Swingers Palace that you guys did, whether it was like 1 or 2 vignettes, led to the very last match of Triple XL. And nobody knew going up to it.
Was that Chris Sabin and James Storm?
With the last match?
Yeah.
No. The last
What
match,
was that?
you guys didn't even make it on Impact. You guys had
Oh,
done
it was
Swingers
Swinger
Palace and did it before the
Hernandez
Impact.
on before the Impact.
Yeah.
We got a win. I hit a splash on Swinger
That's
from the top
it.
rope.
And it looked like that was going to be your, like, you had hit this huge
Yeah.
splash, and it was all over the internet. People were gifting it. And, you know, you guys go over on Hernandez and Swinger coming out of this Swingers Palace, and that's it. That is the end of Triple XL.
I remember you were like, you were so excited about, like, man, I don't know. That's, you know, and I remember just being so, like, at that point mentally is like, I could talk to you about 100% like how I felt at that time. Like when we were going to the gym, I could really, you know, we would have those conversations.
Yeah.
And you were like, man, I don't know. They put you guys over, this, that, and another. And I was like, man, I don't even, it would shock me if we even came back at all. You remember that?
Yeah.
You know,
my thing is do you know, we don't have to sit here and do like innuendo.
No.
What we know, what is fact is that after that set, AC got COVID and you guys were put off of TV.
Yes.
So, because obviously he had to get better before you guys could get brought back on. So you get this big win. You've got this huge moment that they are capitalizing on. They're putting it out there. You're splashing off the top rope. And it was really, really cool because people weren't expecting that type of finish, especially on a before the Impact.
Right. It's
a pre-show to lead into Impact. And that moment was everywhere. People were like, man, look at Larry D. Look at Triple XL. And that, you know, like I said, the COVID diagnosis came back after that, and no more Triple XL.
No, we were cake at that.
But do you think that they were ready to start running, or do you think that would have just been big moment, and then
like,
we'll use that to put you
I felt
under
like
to somebody
that was
bigger?
I felt like that may have been a way to, you know, enhance us to go on to, say, an Ace Austin or a Fulton or a Good Brothers or Finjuice or one of those next tier tag teams, just to, you know, put them over very easily. You know, I mean, no offense, I'm definitely blessed, you know, to do what I did on the TV, but. I think my confidence was so shot. Like I'm sitting there, like still working my ass off, you know, trying to stay in the best shape possible. But like my confidence was so shot. Like I didn't even have it in my head that they even cared to, you know, give a little steam to it. But I still wanted to work hard. Here I am, you know, show up to work every day.
Yeah. Well, you were ready to go back. Obviously, you guys were doing a tag team run. AC couldn't go back, and then AC got better. And I don't think it was long after that, though, that he asked for his release.
Yeah.
He left Impact. So now you're left in limbo. You're still there, but your partner is gone. What did you think then?
Well, I had gotten a call from the office that AC had, you know, I knew that he had asked for his release before it like broke, you know, to the public or whatnot. And, you know, I guess they were just seeing where I was standing, you know, whatever. And I was like, look here, man, I'm here. I 100% want to be at Impact Wrestling. I love it. I mean that. I love the environment. I love the people there. I want to be here. You know, I'm working hard. And I kept saying, hey, man, wait till you see. And you know, I've been killing. I was proud of myself for that aspect, but very disappointed on the front that, you know, I can't come to work. You know, I could work the indies, but like I wanted to go to work. And it just felt like it kept getting no's and no's and no's.
Yeah, well, that last match, the one we talked about where you guys went over on Swinger and Hernandez and you had that big moment, that was all the way back on May 20th.
Right.
And I believe that you don't return to TV until November of that year. So
that was there in the Wrestle House set.
Yeah, they brought you back, and inexplicably, it was the Thanksgiving episode, and they dedicated the entire episode. It wasn't their regular wrestling show. Their entire block was Wrestle House 2.
Right.
We talked about that we would get to season 2. This is season 2, and you had disappeared from TV, no explanation. These guys get to Wrestle House this time. Now it's a huge mansion, and I think you said that they actually used a mansion this time as opposed to...
it was like $1 million, like a couple $1 million probably mansion.
Yeah,
like
as opposed to a set.
It was an Airbnb that you could rent.
Yeah.
And man, I'm telling you, it was nice. Probably one of the nicest places I've ever been in.
Yeah, these here you the last thing we see is you splashing down, getting a win, you disappear, and they open a bedroom door. Who owns this house? And
yeah.
Lo and behold, there it is. Lawrence D is back.
Right, yeah.
Tell us about it.
Man, that was fun. I always enjoyed Wrestle House, as you know. And knowing that, like, that's my house. It's, to me, I feel like now we got some creative around Lawrence D here, so I start to feel real good about, like, well, maybe Lawrence D is the direction for Larry D, that keeps me around. And I felt good because, AC's gone. I felt like there's a creative opportunity there. I was second time around doing the character. I was a little more comfortable this time. I understood it better this time. I felt like we could have done something with it.
Yeah, I mean, if at any point there was a time for a relaunch, a restart, a revigor for your career there in Impact Wrestling, like we talked about, when you first get signed, I'm not talking about you in general, but most people, it's like, man, they see themselves as that heavyweight champion, or they see themselves in that big singles main event run. Most people don't look at like, hey, I'm going to be putting a tag team unless they go in as a tag team.
Right.
You are. The tag team runs out of the way. You don't have to worry about, if your partner for whatever reason isn't carrying their end, or if anything is going on, or they don't see something for the tag team, it's all on you. Right. You're either going to succeed on your own or you're going to fail on your own. And here's an opportunity that they can run with Lawrence D or figure out a way to get Larry D back on TV. Whatever it is, this is their best opportunity to get the best out of you.
I agree. And I was ready. I'd worked hard enough. I felt like I dedicated enough, and like there's like, okay, now I'm going to get to run a little bit. Now they're going to get. I had a feeling like I know they're going to give me. I was excited. I'd been away. I hadn't 8 months. In regards to that. And going back, it was just a disappointment. No offensive, just disappointment.
Yeah. Tell us about any of your memories of filming that Wrestle House, and maybe, that's your first time back and here's people seeing you and it's like, yes, Larry D's back.
Yeah.
Or maybe that wasn't their reaction. I don't know. How was people feeling seeing you back?
I think it was more so when Wrestle House aired, it was really cool. Like, oh, there's Lawrence D. Yes. Yes, that's awesome. And then, I got to work with Johnny Swinger there at the end of Wrestle House 2. We had a little match there at what's the arena there D-Lo taught at, FGW or something?
I'm not sure.
Anyway, that's where we taped all of those sets was there, and Swinger and I had built up Lawrence D versus Johnny Swinger, and he did the powder and all that junk. If you've not seen it, go back and watch it. And then coming out of there, I knew I was coming back 2 weeks later to Vegas. So they flew me to Vegas like twice in 2 weeks. And then, I flew out early, taped Wrestle House, flew back home, was home a few days, flew back to Vegas for 2 days tapings.
Yeah, this is where I would think, I've got to my notes, I feel like this is where the bad point is very much starting to hit, because November 21st, they fly you in, and, I'm not sure if they told you this or if you just thought this, where it's like, all right, here we go. This is it. Larry D, the relaunch, Lawrence D, whatever it is, they tell you, like, here it is. We got you back, and we're starting.
Here's the thing is, like, I was so, like, unsure because it was Larry D relaunch is what I was told. So I went out and got new Larry D gear. And then me just thinking in general of like, well, you know, off the last they had seen me on television, I was Lawrence D. So just me being me was like, I better get some Lawrence D gear made as well, just in case. And so I went and had Zodi make 2 sets of gear, one for Larry D, one for Lawrence D. Because again, I wasn't sure. I didn't get creative. I wasn't even getting the creative emails anymore towards the end. It was just I was showing up just like another extra hand, and they were just telling me what I was doing that day. You know, when I first got there, I was getting all the creative emails. I knew exactly what I was doing, right? And I could, you know, whatever, but not this rip.
Yeah, and here you go back, and you're thinking, here we're off to the races. People online, when you did the Wrestle House, they were so excited to see you back, and there was so much positivity and sentiment from the fans, and you know, we definitely thank those people that go out there and support you. I know that you love your fans, and you love to see them excited about what you're excited about doing, and so you go back. And they've just got you in a promo segment with Rohit Raju. But you said, you know, you get there and there's one set of music playing and there's one Titantron playing. They don't know what's going on.
I get there and you know, I see, you know, you get there at call times, as you could tell, you know, you have a lot of time to sit there. So usually they'll go through the audio, they'll go through the video and things, and you'll see, you know, your Tron pop up, right? They're just running it through to check. So I seen Larry D pop up. I was like, okay, so I'm Larry D tonight. And I put my Larry D gear on, and, you know, looks good. Everything's good. Walks through, and then one of the writers come in and is like, you got Larry, because I was showing like Lawrence D gear to whoever it was next to me, like, hey, check this out. And he walked away, he's like, is that Lawrence D gear? And I was like, yeah. I didn't know if I was Lawrence D or if I was Larry D, so I always come prepared. And he was like, oh, no. Switch. You got to dress as Lawrence today. He's like, no offense to Larry D, but I can write for Lawrence D. So I was like, fuck yeah. I switched very happily right there. And it just was... Yeah, it was just not. I wish if that I would have had a Lawrence D. You know, I thought they'll have Lawrence D music, Lawrence D Tron. I didn't know. You know, I didn't know that I was going to go to the ring and there'd be this hard hitting fucking brawler type music, you know, bruiser type music to the ring, and a Larry D Tron, and I'm Lawrence D spraying fucking cologne on me.
Yeah,
you know?
Didn't you say that they played the Triple XL music, but then they dubbed over it
on
for
television?
The show.
I guess they dubbed over this like soft tone Lawrence D. But man, like the most disheartening part is like when I hit the curtain as Larry D. Whenever the music hit the Larry D Tron.
Yeah, so they see the Tron, they see the music, and they're like, Larry D's back.
Like you can hear that set of people, that set of audience on the ramp side, right? You can hear them, oh fuck, Larry D, you know, and then when I hit the fucking stage, it was like, what the fuck? Like, that's what I heard. Like, what the fuck?
Well, you always get that reaction. You always get that connection to where maybe not right at first, but before the match is over, before your creative is over, wherever you go, you get those people, either Larry D, right. Larry, or Larry fucking D, right. Larry fucking D, or sign Larry D, right. Sign Larry D. And so there it is. You see that you could get that. And you come out and like you said, wet fart in church.
Yeah, man, it was really, really, really bad. Like I was obviously trying to give my all, but man, it's very hard on the mental when you know it's like they're shitting on this. You know, I mean, Rohit and I had a fine little 2-minute spot or whatever, but man, there's just so much like not tapped into as far as impact.
You had sat home for how many months?
Probably 6.
How long was the flight?
4.5.
Okay, so 6 months, 4.5 hour flight. How long was your segment?
Probably, I had a 2-minute segment and then a 1.5 minute promo backstage.
And that right there tells you
is
that
cake.
Somebody there was like, you know what, man? Relaunch this.
Yeah.
Relaunch this, man. You're under contract. Be grateful.
Yeah. And I think that's what it was, is like, it's like I was very happy to be under contract. I was very happy, but like not towards the end. I was very I was mad. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, here it is. I'm not gonna lie about it.
And the whole thing ended like you went out there for this segment, and the segment itself didn't even matter because the end of it was just both of you guys, or what, maybe just Rohit getting attacked, and what was it, Josh Alexander?
Yeah, well, it could have easily been just any old fucking extra there that they paid $100 to or whatever to do it. I don't know what those guys make, but again, I'm happy I got to see Las Vegas, but I want more than just being, man, I got to see Las Vegas and I got to go out there for 120 seconds, 180 seconds, whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, another example of written in, not written for.
Man, yeah.
Is they said blank interviews Rohit. Rohit gets attacked.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, does it matter who does the interview? They could have had Gia Miller.
Anybody.
They could have had anybody, Josh Matthews, anybody could have held that microphone. If anything, they were just tired of you calling, saying, hey, I'm hungry, I'm ready. Yeah. It's like, all right.
I wouldn't even call, and I was just like, am I on? No. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
At that point, I told my wife, and I even told you, I was like, I'm not even going to fucking call them.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to call them. And then finally I got a call, we'll let you know, and here we go, And I remember when I asked for my release, it was right there. I held the phone up, and I was like, I'm either getting fired or I'm asking for my release.
Yeah, because so many times you're like, not on, nothing.
At that time, it's like you got to pick yourself up a little bit. And like, I had to stop being that guy that's just okay being signed and start being that guy that's like, motherfucker, what kind of man claims to, be signed, and he's sitting here wrestling the indies, while everybody else is out there. I'm not going to do that. If anything, I'm going to show my son, like, you fucking work hard and you do your very best, but it's okay to move on to, betterment for you. Maybe not financially, but mentally, I had to get that weight off my shoulders because I knew, and I still know 1,000% that I can go with anybody on that roster, and I can have just as good a match as anybody with anybody. So I can't sit back and watch everyone else do what they do and be there while I'm there, but not there. And it's not worth it. My son, showing my kids that you don't have to take shit. No offense to nobody, but you're better than what's given to you. So just show them. Get out of the situation.
Yeah. And one of the last appearances you had there that we didn't even talk about, tell us a little bit about Bad Lands Bart.
Bad Lands Bart was actually pretty fun. It was IPWF there with, I guess they do it every year. It's more of like a comedy, like 80s retro show that they put on.
Yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, it's Impact Wrestling, but they do their own like spoof show, comedy show that's supposed to be set in the 80s. Everybody does like an over-the-top 80s type gimmick. And obviously they brought you in to be Bad Lands
Bart, and he was like he was a biker from the year 2050 or something like that, and just have fun with it. And I got there and they had me in a bull rope match, like old Kentucky bull rope match with Jake something, but I can't remember what his character was that night.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
But man, it was awesome.
Fun time, great night to just not take things seriously, and for like 2 hours just sit there and laugh at everything.
Yeah.
You've got like Bill Ding, the evil construction worker. You've got Chad Too Bad doing an over the top 80s gimmick. Obviously, Luke Gallows is there doing his shtick, and a really good time. Willie Mack. Almost everybody on the roster there doing some sort of huge over the top 80s.
But it was
excuse to have a good time.
Even though it was fun, it was still business as usual, And I remember D'Lo Brown was our agent, and we was going over, and I found out that it was a bull rope match, and he looked at me and I was like, oh, this is fucking great. I was like, I've been doing shitty bull rope matches in Kentucky for 20 years, and just had a good little laugh out of it. And we came up with a decent little finish, and it was good. I actually felt good going out of that of like, hey, boys, I'm still here. I can still work. The crowd was invested. They were involved. Go back and watch it. I had a hell of a time.
You were giving them so many options. I mean, you had Larry D. You had Lawrence D. You've got Badlands Bart. You were willing to do anything they asked, and still it wasn't enough.
I never thought that I would have as many characters that I've done, because I've always been just Larry D, you know.
You've definitely become a character-driven wrestler.
Of course.
You can do anything that's asked of you.
Right.
Very versatile.
And it's fun. It shows. I think it shows my worth now that I know what I can do. So it's just where I'm at, to where I know what I bring to the table. I just want to be able to sit down at the chair, whether it's Impact, AEW, WWE, fucking, you know, NWA, MLW, wherever. Just let me sit at the table. I'll show you, you know, I can hold my.
That's it. And now you have that opportunity because, you know, clean slate. You've left Impact Wrestling. Everybody knows they didn't, you know, release you. You didn't get fired. You asked to leave for the betterment of Larry D.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like it was completely mutual. Like, you know, it's like I think I've said it a couple times. Like, people search for me to like badmouth or like fuck those guys kind of thing, and I can't do that, man. It's changed my life. It's blessed me. You know, I can't sit here and say that my Impact time was fucking miserable. It wasn't. It just was not fun at the end, and I needed to make a decision for me and my family and my mental health more than any.
Yeah, we're 5 chapters in. So 5 episodes into the story that starts from a young guy who finally gets everything that he wants. Then he realizes, okay, this isn't that dream. This is the reality. This is not everything I thought it was going to be, but here's what it is. Well, and we went through all that. We got to the middle ground, every bit of the story, and today the end of the road, and it seems like you left better than you went in, and no regrets.
No, I have 0 regrets. I mean, if I'm still off TV that way, and I'm mentally feeling the way that I feel, then yeah, I would make the decision all over again. If I were to be offered a contract, I would definitely make sure that I had 100% confirmation, you know, on certain dates, because of per appearance, man, you know, I still got to eat. You know, there was times that, you know, that money was needed. I'm not as blessed as a Chad Allegra. I'm not as financially set as some of those other guys down there. And like, I depend on that loop money far more than maybe they did. And like, you know, it made me hustle that much more, but it made me stronger. You know, we did not eat, you know, it made me push through and swallow my fucking pride. You know, if I needed to wrestle in a fucking open field to make my kids money to fucking pay them bills, you goddamn right I am. You know,
hell yeah! And to pay those bills, we got to hit those sponsors.
Yes, sir.
So we'll be right back after this.
Hey, I'm Ryan the Lion. If you want to check out me and my music and my new podcast, Mix Mayhem Music Review, go to SkullFace Records.
Wow, such a great story, and I'm glad that we're able to share it with so many people. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you never miss an episode. You were gone, you left Impact Wrestling, but it wasn't the end of the road for you and old Impact Wrestling.
No, so, I feel like we done business right, man.
Yeah, they came to back to the Louisville area.
Yeah.
You get a phone call. Tell us how that phone call went.
Yeah, man, it wasn't but like 3 weeks after. You know, I'd gotten my release and asked for it, and then maybe 3-4 weeks after, I get a text from Mr. Tommy Dreamer, and he asked if I was available on that Sunday, the last day of their loop down there in Louisville. And I got the chance to go down there, and to me, it was redemption. Like, you know, that I felt like they knew that I wanted to be there, but they understood why I left, and the opportunity came, and I feel like it. To me, it's great. It's still, I feel like the business is still there. I feel like I could still go work with Impact Wrestling if the opportunity were to come.
Yeah, a match aired on March 6th where you faced Boo Pinder. Obviously, the week before that, obviously you filmed it all at one time, but the week before that, you had showed up back at Impact.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, I'm not contracted. You laid the fist across someone's face, and there you are, Larry D, back in Impact Land.
I had the most creative I had in a year was on my when I was not signed under contract to Impact Wrestling.
Right there was a perfect example of what they could have done with you. Anytime you ever told me, like, hey, they say they couldn't write for Larry D, it's like, how hard is it? You take that right hand and you put it upside anybody's face, and right there, we're off to the races. It doesn't matter if it's Josh Alexander, doesn't matter if it's Boo Pinder, it doesn't matter who it is on that show. Your right hand hits them in the face, and they've got a reason to come back and look for more.
I mean, I honestly feel like I have the best right hand in pro wrestling. I've just not been able to show the world. I really believe in it, and it's, again, it writes itself. Either side of the fence, it writes itself. I'm always one punch away. I'm that guy that they never would think, but I'm always that rugged tough. I'm one punch away. All it takes is one punch.
That's it. It's like a modern day, like it's not verbatim Dusty Rhodes,
right.
But here you are. You're this guy from a small town. You're born in Georgetown. You just go right up the street to Cynthiana. It's another small town, and there you got your wife, you got your kids, and you got to hustle. You got to bet on yourself. You got to work hard every day. And the thing is that you make your living fighting.
That's
and
it.
by God, when that right hand lands, you're one step away, one punch away from getting to the top and making right for that family, to do your dad right, to do your wife right, to do your kids right, to do America right, baby.
I love it,
I
man.
tell you, I'm on fire just talking about it.
I'm gonna need you to get a job down at one of these places and write that shit.
Hey, man, I tell you, the thing is, it writes itself.
It does.
And it was so good because you went in, you laid that right hand across. It set up a match people were excited to see. They were excited to see Larry D back. And, they got this rub going behind Boo Pinder. Talk about going in there and, filming that vignette, filming that interview. And then also another part of the story is people always think about the wrestling end. I think you showed on that day, on that occasion, that you are such a good behind-the-scenes hand that you could give that rub and give that knowledge to a guy on any level and help to bring them up because – this is a guy that they're getting behind, but he's very green. He's very new. He also has the, the language barrier, and he's just trying to fit in here, and not just fit in here, but also get that rub, deserve that rub, and do right by what Impact wants to do. And here you are coming in very unselfishly, helping this guy get to where he wants to be. And that's the story of Larry D, I think.
Man, I think that's what we're supposed to do. It's like, look at the opportunity these guys. This guy's in his early 20s, probably. I don't know. I would guess.
Very young, lots of potential if they can just harness it and get something out of him. And I felt like you may have got his best match out of it.
I would like to go back and watch his matches and look, but I felt really good about it. He didn't know who I was. I didn't know who he was, and going back in there was nervous though. I was like, how are they going to look at me? What are they going to say? It's like, are they going to look at me as that old desperate, hand, that wants back in, or what is it? And it was nothing like that. It was like I'd never asked for my release. It was just another day at work, and everyone was happy to see me, and everything was great. And I mean, I'm one that I just sit there. I don't really mingle as far as I'll go around to shake hands, but you've seen it. We just sit there. When we just wait, and I finally met him, and I think he didn't know that I'd been there before. He didn't. The history, had no idea who I was, and he had all these ideas that were just, the guys just knew, and it's like, whoa. I'm sitting thinking in my head, we're not doing we ain't doing, no, brother, we ain't doing that, but once we, I let him get it out, and I was like you had mentioned, the language barrier was tough. I let him get it out, and then I try to, shot some ideas, and it was, I think he probably felt like, I'm the TV guy here. You're just here to make, you're here to take the pin. I think he probably didn't think that maybe I was as good of a hand as I was or whatever.
Now, you know what we say. You going to learn today.
You going to learn today. And Tommy Dreamer, bless him. You remind me a lot of him because you're right direct, and you joke, but you get to the point, and you're just the way it is. And he came up and he was like, Bhupinder, this is Larry D. He's here to make you look good. He's like, you tell him what you want, what moves you have, and you listen to him. You don't say nothing. He's the veteran here. He's here to make you look good on TV. He said, you guys get your match together and come back to me, and I trust fully in what he can do. Something along those lines. And I felt like, from that point forward, it went from like, we'll do this and I need you to do that to, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. Can I do this here? And like, to me, I got to take the guy that was there, but he had some tools. He just didn't know how to use them. And it was my job to make sure it's like, no, this tool goes here. No, we need to put this bolt here, to make it really a good functioning, being, good match. And I felt like we got the very best out of it. I was very impressed with it. It really was.
What did you take away from that experience, and is there future business there for Impact Wrestling?
I would like to think that, to me, yes, I feel like there's future business there as far as being in-ring talent. But I think the bigger thing I would like to think is that they can see what I can do. What if I had took Bhupinder and someone similar my size, much younger, and like let them come together and make some magic on television. Like, to me, I feel like that's my spot in wrestling, is like helping these young guys put it together and make it make sense and go at the very best, make sure that they're hitting their hard games, make sure that they're hitting their times, make sure they're not doing something silly that they shouldn't do. Like, I'm 38 years old, man. I've got plenty of gas left in the tank, but gosh, I love seeing the up and coming guys like that have so much potential, but they just can't quite put it together.
It's awesome to hear. And, I've always said that you're so good with like direction and taking what you've learned from an Impact Wrestling and applying it to the local scene, especially with our kids at Legends Pro Wrestling Academy and at Generation Next Pro Wrestling. We talked about how you literally directed a cinematic match and put it together in pieces to where when it flowed perfectly. Plus, you're able to tell them what you've learned and what you've picked up, and it's helped so many people. But what I think you're very, very, very best at, and I tell everybody this, is that you can tell a big man how to be a big man, how to work like a big man. And because some people don't value their size and they don't protect their bumps and they don't protect their size. And I feel like you're the guy that can get them in those positions because you've been in those positions.
Oh, of course. My whole career I've been in those positions, and just knowing like the knowledge that I've gained now and seeing, we work guys like Brandon Taggart, guys like Majors, even up on the next levels. I've helped guys, they've shot ideas off of me. Well, what if you try this? It's like, I know how to get a big guy to be a big guy. I know how to get them to a little match. I know that I can take a guy that's 5 years and under that has a little bit of potential, and I can take him and lead him around pretty good and make him look good. It doesn't have to be a guy. It could be, young, old. I just feel very confident in my capabilities, in the ring or, backstage helping out, putting matches together, being a match agent or something along those lines.
Yeah, and now we know you're out of Impact Wrestling. That ends the Making an Impact. So I know the answer. I think you know the answer, but just to get it out there, we've called it Making an Impact. Did you make your impact, not just on Impact Wrestling, but on the sport of professional wrestling?
I feel like I did. I feel like I've made my impact through Impact. I feel like again, it's opened so much doors for me that I don't see no turning back. It's like we talk all the time about pushing yourself and like working for yourself and just being independent. And like without Impact Wrestling, I wouldn't have had all that. I feel like I made an impact, on the people that follow me and support me now that never have. I feel like the biggest impact that I've made is by far with my family. you know, and my son and my girls, they understand the hustle of hard work, and they understand the value of $1. You know, they understand business. They understand like what we go through. They see it, you know, and it's a tough lesson. And I think it's what I've gone through with this and making it here and still being independent as a family. I feel like this right here has made my children grow into better adults when it's their time to support their families. And they'll remember this. I feel like they'll remember the time that, you know, whenever they might have their own project going as an adult, they'll remember the times that it was tough on dad, you know, when he was disappointed in his television contract and he's made it so far, just to, you know, not feel like he's kind of made it all the way. And then they'll remember us flourishing. They'll remember us opening several businesses. They'll remember us helping people out. They'll remember us helping young wrestlers out, and they'll just remember good in general for mere fact that I got offered a life-changing opportunity. Even though that life-changing opportunity didn't quite go the way that I seen it, it's still life-changing. I've got so much to be blessed for right here today.
Yeah, and the thing is the road's not over. Larry
Not at
D, like, this is not the last episode of the podcast, obviously. It's the last part of the Making an Impact series, but there'll be an episode 6, 7, 8, 9.
We'll go rolling,
on.
baby.
There's so many stories.
Yes, sir.
That's it. And because you've done so much, you've talked about, you've left Impact Wrestling. The slate is clean. You're your own boss. You're back to just betting on yourself and working hard and hustling. We know that you've opened a bar. We know that you've got Legends Pro Wrestling Academy over on Hingston, still accepting new students. We have a pro wrestling camp coming up that we'll talk about. So many things. We run Generation Next Pro Wrestling. You're still taking independent wrestling dates, going all around the world. And on top of that, you wrestled Tim Storm over on NWA Power for the NWA. Talk about what it means to have been a part of the NWA, and is there any potential to seeing a future with the NWA, or is that just a stepping stone to so much more?
You know, I feel like I got in there with Tim Storm and showed the NWA what Larry D is capable of in 5 minutes. I got to show the NWA what I'm capable of. In 5 minutes, I went out there with a former world champion, and we had a hell of a match. If anything, that shows the world, like, Larry D's ready. It doesn't matter if it's at Impact. It doesn't matter if it's NWA. It doesn't matter if it's anywhere. Larry D's always ready. And I feel given the proper time, given the proper opportunity, I can show the world that I still am here. You know, I'm still here. Whatever, how the fuck you want to put it, I'm still here. I can still go with the best of them, and I think I continue to prove it. I just line them up. Let me show you.
That's it. So many people say, "Hey, what's next for Larry D?" or "Who's next for Larry D?" or "Who's Larry's dream opponent?"
I'll tell you what. Like, being down there at the NWA, I'll tell you what, man, that 10 pounds of goat sounds real good. You know, it's like, I know that I can get in there and go with a former champion. I was only a few seconds away from proving that I could beat him. So, you know, 10 pounds of goat sounds real good around Larry D's waist.
That's it. And we know that right now, Trevor Murdoch is the NWA heavyweight champion coming up at Hard Times 3. He will defend that title against a man who was never defeated for the NWA championship, and that was Always Ready, Matt Cardona. You know what? I mean, I thought you were the guy that was always ready.
Well, I am always ready. I promise you that.
Hey, that's really exciting to hear. Let's go to some commercial breaks, and we'll come back. We'll wrap this up with some plugs and ask Larry anything.
Oh, get them questions ready now.
We'll be right back.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to SkullFace Records Radio. You guys want to help and maybe own some of your own SkullFace Records merch? Dude, we got mad CDs for $10 a piece. CDs like the Next to Nothing Valenian Split, Brian Himes' 2020 release with SkullFace Records, my newest release, Nick Nasty, Ryan the Lion, the Kentucky's Underground, comp series 1 through 6. Those are available right now. $10 shipped straight to your door. Swamped and Ashy, One Part Madness, Anonymous, Cannibalistic Death Cult, Also, at SkullFace Records, we have a whole bunch of cool shirts that are going to be available for $15 shipped. Now, we had a lot of overstock, so the custom colors might not be exactly what you want, but they're $15 shipped right now. Hit me up on Facebook or at nichimes@gmail.com to make your orders now. Also, through Lord Thaddeus, we have some patches, we have some stickers available. Like I said, just hit me up on Facebook or at nichimes@gmail.com. That's NICHIMES@gmail.com to make your orders now. Don't forget also to check out all of our shows, our programming, our new music releases, our podcast shows. You can see all that on our YouTube page, all over Facebook. Check out our SkullFace Records Bandcamp. That's skullfacerecords.bandcamp for all of our new music releases. You can download, get the digital side of SkullFace Records through our Bandcamp. Thanks. This is Nick Nasty, and thanks for tuning in to SkullFace Records Radio. SkullFace Records.
All right, we're back. And, like I said, we were going to get a couple plugs in real quick. We talked about the school. We obviously do. We plug it every single week, and that's Legends Pro Wrestling Academy. We're training professional wrestlers. If you have a dream, whether you're a manager, whether you're a wrestler, whether you're a beginner, whether you've been in the business a while and you're seasoned, but you just want to learn a few more tricks, come on over to Legends Pro Wrestling Academy, and we'll help you make your dreams a reality. Go ahead and let them know about, the tuition, the full address,
right now,
whatever they need to know.
You can come join us. It's each and every Sunday over there at 101 Hingston in Cynthiana, Kentucky. You can find us online. Go to the Legends Pro Wrestling Academy. Give us a like. Give us a share. You can also email us at the Academy at legendsprowrestlingacademy@gmail.com. You can always reach out to myself or you, and we'll gladly direct you in the right direction to get your dream started. As far as the tuition goes, man, it's $300 down, $100 a month. It's very simple, very easy, and you come and drop the best knowledge, and you get the very best effort. I mean, look at the classes we've been having, man. I mean, these are the best classes I feel that we've had in years.
There's some hungry kids. I think we started and we had 8 back after we had started the new semester. And we had closed for a minute, just for a couple of weeks to get everybody's head back on track. And we started the new semester back with 8. I think we've got 10 or 12 now.
Yeah.
I mean, we just had a new kid start this week. I think another one's starting next week.
Yep.
I'd like to have that be an every week thing, that I see a new hungry face. And I'm so excited for the potential that we see over at Legends Pro Wrestling Academy.
There's nothing like teaching pro wrestling. I love to be in the ring. You've seen it. I remember you went to that show. He's like, man, I've been drunk with you and we've been around, but ain't nothing like when you're in that ring, right? He's like, there's no drug like no other when you're in that ring, and it's the fact. And you want to share that with everyone else, because I was the same child that watched pro wrestling growing up. I was the same child that would cry for my mom to order the pay-per-views when we didn't have enough money, and when I got the opportunity to live it myself, man, it's just amazing, and it's such a feeling that you want to share with those that are like-minded, and you want to help them succeed to their very best potential.
I love seeing when the light switch flips on and they just get it. We see so many people come in there, and you might take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but eventually you're going to be where you want to be if you're willing to work hard enough to get that goal and achieve it and make your dream a reality. And I love to be able to help people do that. Me and you go around, and we've been to Washington, we've been to Indiana, we've been all over the place doing these pro wrestling seminars where we go and promoter can message us and figure out how to work out a deal to where we come in, and for a day we sit there with their kids, their students, whoever it is, and we offer them the ability to learn from us, learn from our experiences. And so fun to do that. But what I love even more is that every year we hold a pro wrestling camp, a Legends Pro Wrestling Academy weekend camp. And we've got that coming up, and it's a chance for people to come in that you may not be able to come every single week, but at least once a year for a weekend, you can come in and we can give you every bit of knowledge that we have and help you step your game up. I'm very proud of a guy that I saw this past week. I was down at the NWA tapings, and I saw Leo Fox.
Yeah.
And Leo Fox is a guy that had been to war, and he had been through so much hardship, and he had came to our pro wrestling camp, and he wanted to be a cocky heel and didn't quite know exactly what he needed to do, what steps he needed to take to make it, and he was just painting by numbers. And we took that guy, and I personally sit there and trained with him and said, hey man, like this cocky heel, it's not connecting with me. We do, promo classes, in-ring classes. We teach you everything you need to know from psychology. If you want to learn it, we'll teach it. And this guy, he had such an interesting story. He had survived war, and he had come back, and addiction had kicked his ass 4 times. And here this guy is. He had been in and out of rehab, and his life was on the downside. And I said, man, there's your story. There's your thing of you survived all of this. And he would send me promos every single month. And they started off and they weren't that great. And then they were a little better and a little better and a little better until now this guy works for Control Your Narrative. This he appeared on the NWA pay-per-view. He was at the NWA tapings, and wow, the future could be limitless for this guy. He has so much potential that is yet to be unlocked, and I'm just glad to be a small part of that. I know you're proud. You taught him how to work like a big man, and so much we have to offer at Legends Pro Wrestling Academy, and especially at our camp. Give them some information about the camp.
The camp is $100, and it's on Friday and Saturday. I think it's the 19th and the 20th of November. You can go ahead and reserve those spots now. There's only 20 limited spots on that.
Yeah, and I think there's people already jumping on those spots, so it's actually less than 20 now.
There's less than 20
I would
now.
act
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, I would definitely, if you're interested, I would definitely secure that spot now. And it's just a good time, man. We get up in the mornings and we train wrestling all day till afternoon, and now I've got a place to host Friday and Saturday night if they want to come relax and have a good time. And we still get everything what we need to be and create great pro wrestlers from around the country and show them not only the wrestling moves, but talk about life in general. I feel like that they leave not better wrestlers, they leave better people, and just we show them hospitality, we show them courtesy, and we show them honesty, which is hard to find.
Yeah, we're really trying to help you be your best you, no matter who that you is.
100%.
And just leaving wrestling better than we found it. Something exciting about this year's camp that we've never done is that Saturday night we are going to host a live event. I don't know if we'll have it called a bar brawl.
No, it
or
won't
not,
be a bar, yeah.
But it definitely will be a showcase.
It's like a camp showcase, yeah.
And it's so exciting. We'll put it on right there in the bar. You'll be in front of a live crowd. We'll charge people to get in. It'll be a great time. Hopefully people will come in. They'll enjoy the show. They'll get some drinks, and you'll get a chance to show them some of what we have taught you.
I agree.
It doesn't matter if we're teaching you from scratch or if we're knocking the rust off or if we're just polishing out the edges. If you truly want to be your best you, come to Legends Pro Wrestling Academy. I mean, what do you have to lose? Quit talking about ands, ifs, and buts and start making it happen.
I'll tell you what you have to lose: anxiety, depression, obesity. Everything, mental health issue. It's so good. Everyone thinks it's just pro wrestling. It's far beyond pro wrestling there with us. At least I know I don't have to think. I know for a fact that we teach better people. Pro wrestling secondary. We teach better people over there.
Hey, I'm so excited about what we have to offer there. And, speaking of what we have to offer, we don't want to forget that we've got 2 huge bar brawls coming up. It's going to be the first time that we have ever done a 2-night bar brawl. So September 30th, the guys are coming out. It's that Friday night, and we've got a huge card lined up there. And then you turn around October 1st, the very next night, and it is the first ever ladies' night bar brawl, all women. I mean, I'm really excited about how this is going to turn out. What do you think?
Man, I can't wait to see how it's going to be. I'm excited for our first 2-night back-to-backs. And, you know, one thing, too, is like there's an arm wrestling tournament after that first night. Like that night, they're getting in there and they're fucking going. You know, that's a part of the after party entertainment as well. And we get to watch all the matches on Friday with all the guys, turn around Saturday and see all them little ladies come out there and they're going to start throwing around. And it's going to be something I'm really excited for.
Yeah, the cool thing is like the bar opens at 4:00.
Yes.
You get in there, you can pregame, you can do whatever you got to do. Here comes the wrestling. You see some of the best wrestling in the entire state of Kentucky. I would be willing to say some of the best pro wrestling anywhere.
I would agree with that.
It is the next generation of professional wrestling today, and then after that, all the way till 1 a.m., we always have that really big after party like only
such
Generation
a good
Next
time,
can do.
man. Everyone has such a good vibe in there. Everyone enjoys dancing. Everyone enjoys just talking and just, you know, enjoying each other. And they get an opportunity to hang out up close and personal with guys like you and I and, you know, Nate Gnarly and, you know, whoever else is walking around there. You know, it's such a good vibe. I mean, Jay Money was on the stage dancing, doing karaoke the first time.
It's great. I mean, even a guy like Franklin Bernard,
right.
And we all have our own personal opinions on Franklin Bernard, but I mean, that guy there, he was having a good time at that after party.
Yeah, well, how can you not? You know, I mean, look at all the women that walk around in there. It's right up Franklin Bernard's alley, man.
Hey, man, very exciting. Tell us about any other events that may be coming up at Legends Barn events.
Man, we've loaded up. I know that we've had these Sin City lives, man. We do live music there, and SkullFace Records really does a great job at putting together lineups and you know, some great bands come through there. We've got open mic this Friday night. You know, we've got a few spots filled with comedy and music already. We've got a live performance here Thursday with Kiwan, who is a really talented artist from Georgetown area. I've known him for several years. He's a great R&B voice. He can rap. He can sing country. He does it all. Really talented. I can't wait to see him on stage again. And then Saturday, we're going to vibe and kick it, man. It's just live DJ, karaoke, just a good, we party hard over here.
It's almost like every night there's something special that you just can't miss,
Yeah.
even if you just stop in.
We're introducing a couple of new drinks this week. You know,
Tell us about it.
I'll let you try one today. It tastes just like a candy apple sucker. It's so good.
And that just adds on top of what you guys got, the Tropical Paradise,
Yep.
Suicide Dive.
We got the China.
Go over there and get that full and delicious China,
Yes,
just
sir.
like she was, big and delicious.
Man, you know, we used to be a different part of life years ago, but you remember the concoction of rum that I would have.
Oh, yeah.
You know, now we're offering
That's the old, that might be called the Fat Freddy.
Got a little Malibu and Milos, baby. It's so good. I think that, you know, people will love coming and they get an opportunity to try drinks that we would drink when we are out. You know, that's what I'm doing. I'm not just going off of, I'm sending drinks that I would personally drink, that you would drink, that, you know, we would do. And we've had some concoctions at times, and boy, they're working.
Man, and some of the fans of this show, some of the fans of pro wrestling, they feel like, hey, man, I know everything there is to know about professional wrestling. So excited to have those people listening to the show. But you guys are having a wrestling trivia night.
Yes, we're having a wrestling trivia the same week, the week of the 30th, building up to Bar Brawl. That Wednesday, we will have wrestling trivia. Yeah, I'm excited for that. It's going to be from 7 till 9. There's no cover. Come up there, enjoy yourselves, have a great time.
That's it, because I know I am challenging each and every one of you out there listening. I know there's somebody out there going, I know everything there is to know about wrestling.
Yeah.
Come and prove it.
Yeah.
Come and be the champion of the Legends Bar and Events Wrestling Trivia Night. Come and show that you are the number one fan of professional wrestling. Hey, mention the podcast. That's what we're all about. Hit that like, subscribe, share. The bell icon will make sure you never miss an episode. Hey, when we come back, it's Ask Larry Anything.
Oh, let's do it.
Some creepy guy is stalking you in the parking garage at 3 a.m., but you're not worried because you have a Bright for War Industries knife strapped to your belt. Don't be a victim in this crazy world. Protect yourself. Carry a knife made by Bright for War Industries. It may save your life. Hi, this is Josh for Bright for War Industries. I'm a professional knife maker with 15 years experience. If you're looking for a unique gift or a high-performance piece of cutlery for the kitchen, the field, or for personal protection, look no further. Look for me on Instagram at Bright for War.
All right, we're back. And, for the first time ever, you're streaming here as we go along. Go ahead and hit up your social medias and let them know where they can watch it.
Yeah, you can watch it on TikTok. Find me at Larry D 1984, baby. I think it's something that we could do. It's I think it's a little different vibe. I wanted to try it out today. It's cool. We got some people watching, and then they can.
And we're available on YouTube. You can catch us our Facebook page. We always keep people updated.
Spotify.
That's it, Spotify. The numbers are going through the roof. We're getting so many people that just love me, Max, and Mike, and we love each and every one of you because we can't do this without each and every one of you. And as much as we have fun sitting here shooting the stuff back and forth between one another and telling these stories, it doesn't matter if you people aren't listening, sharing, subscribing. So if you're enjoying it, we'll keep on going. And we're going to get on to these questions. You said you had a question come over on your TikTok, right?
I had one come over and ask if I still talk to AC or if I like AC. I love AC. I wish AC all the best. I know that he's since he's wrestled overseas. He's still wrestling the independents. He seems to be doing okay. As far as like us being in touch, I probably haven't talked to AC in about 8 months, to be honest. I think it's just one of those things of, I wish you the best and I hope you're doing well, but lives go on back to normal. Now it's Larry D and Max Sledd, baby. Everything legendary. It's time to push them to the top.
Everything. We were already everything legendary. I already told you. I'm pretty salty that you left me behind. You go to Impact Wrestling. You start a new tag team, and like I asked you before, here's my question for you: how'd that treat you?
Max Sledd wasn't the type of guy that wanted to go to the top and see me succeed.
Oh, stop! Stop! We know exactly where this is going. I guess you have friends that when you fall back, they catch you, right? Right. We don't need to get into that type of drama.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, but if we're gonna bring that up, what is your opinion on pro wrestling drama? Whether it's the independent level, whether it's the big level, we know there's a lot going on. We're not going to touch on all that. You can theorize for yourself, have your own opinions. But what is your opinion on pro wrestling drama?
Man, coming up in my early years, I used to get caught up in this pro wrestling drama and everything. And then I realized, man, this ain't getting me nowhere. And just a lot of time, a lot of effort into something that here's the thing about pro wrestling drama, and this is not a shot, but it's just the way I always see it is like you can see these social media battles back and forth, and it's mostly from the local guys that fucking they got something on their shoulder or whatnot, and then they make these subliminal shots online, and then the other guy makes his shot, and then they have like this long thread of them just arguing and for the public to see. And then they'll come together on each other's inboxes more than likely. And then you see them like shake hands and I can go on about nothing's wrong. It's stupid. Grow the fuck up. We're pro wrestlers. I don't have to like you to do business with you. Even 10 years ago in my 20s, I was bullheaded as can be. I still did business with a guy that I couldn't stand. I still went in and done the business, even though I was making very little money because I loved fucking wrestling. I don't give a fuck who likes who. I don't give a fuck who don't like who. We're here to do a job. We're here to make our sport better. You don't have to like me to do that. I don't have to like you to do that, but we have to respect each other as professionals. And we sometimes let that slip through the cracks a little bit, I feel, because of our personal opinions of one another.
Yeah, I think sometimes people forget the word professional comes before wrestler.
I agree.
What got you into professional wrestling? I think we've talked about this the last few weeks, but the question that I have here is just what got you into wrestling? So maybe just an abridged version, or if there was one thing that you were like, that's it. I know this is what I'm going to do the rest of my life.
It was going out there every Friday with my mom and dad watching independent wrestling. I fell in love with it. I couldn't miss it. And then just something grabbed me from the first one I hit, I can't say like, I just know that MWA every Friday, my pop's taking us out there. That's what hooked me. I knew that's what I wanted to do. I told my mom at a very young age that I was going to be a pro wrestler.
Were you one of those guys that was embarrassed, like your friends or somebody would ask you, like, what do you want to be? And you just like, a cop or a doctor, because you didn't want to be like, I want to be a professional wrestler.
I was right there in my Hulk Hogan shirt, right there. You go back to my kindergarten portrait. I got a mullet and a rat tail and a Hulk Hogan shirt. And I've told them I wanted to wrestle the whole time.
What were we thinking? I've got so many pictures with a rat tail. What in the world? Were we cool? I was wearing a windbreaker.
I felt pretty cool about it.
Yeah, I was. You know, the funny story is, so like, I have a picture from 1992 of me in school with a windbreaker and a rat tail. And later on in life, as a heel, I wore that same windbreaker as a ring jacket.
I love it. See, it comes full circle.
It does. What is your favorite pro wrestling company out there to watch? And what is the best professional wrestling company that you've ever worked for or been a part of?
I would say that Impact Wrestling obviously is the top. That, I love them. I got to work with the NWA, and there's something special there. I want more there. There's something real, real special at the NWA. I want more there, so I'm going to do what I can to show the NWA what I'm worth. I don't get to watch a lot of wrestling. I think that the only wrestling I watch is what we're involved in. I watch a lot of the indies when I'm there, but I mostly just pay attention to our students. I don't really get to watch AEW. I don't get to watch WWE. I don't get to keep up with Impact. I wish that I had more time to do so, but, I don't get to watch as much.
Yeah. What is your favorite pro wrestling theme song? And what is your least favorite pro wrestling theme songs
when
of
it
all
comes
time?
Crashing down and it hurt? I love when Gandy hits the ring. It reminds me of my childhood,
You got in there at the bike night, and you were in there and you did the big pose down with him.
I don't know. I don't know. What was it? The Right to Censor had that really annoying.
Yeah,
that
I don't
would
know. I don't know if we
be.
can soundbite that or not.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. So what was your favorite gimmick of all time? And I think what they mean by that question is the gimmicky wrestlers, the gobbledygookers, the Doink the Clowns. What was your favorite gimmicky wrestler?
I love Doink the Clown, especially when he brought the midgets with him, and they would come to the ring together, and was it Doink, Dink, Zink?
And Wink and Pink.
Yeah,
I don't know. There was a lot of them.
I think Jimmy Lamb was one of them on his knees.
Oh, stop. What is that? What?
He said he was Doink the Clown, man.
He did tell me that. There was one time, people around here will know the name Ray the Bear Steele.
Yes.
And I remember he called me one day, and I was so excited because at a certain point, I didn't get a whole lot of outside wrestling bookings outside the main home promotion I worked for, which was MWA. And he called me and he goes, "Hey, dude, what you doing?" I was like, "Nothing, Bear. What's happening?" He goes, "You want to wrestle on my show?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be great, man. I'm excited. When is it?" He gives me the date. He gives me the time, and I'm excited. And he goes, "I want you to be Doink the Clown." And I think he's joking. He goes, "No, you want me to wrestle Doink?" He goes, "No, I want you to be Doink the Clown." I get there, and they put me in a Doink the Clown costume. They paint my face up, and then they don't have the baby face Doink music. I'm a baby face, but they had me coming out to the heel music with the kids crying.
I love it.
And I'm working with Jimmy Clough, and he's got 3 managers on the floor, and I bring the buckets to the ring, one with the confetti in it, one with the water in it, so that we can do the fake out confetti spot.
If anybody would do the gimmick justice, it would be you.
I thought it was some of the most fun that I ever had. The only thing is while I was going around the ring doing the laugh and doing the doink, and all these people were so excited. Bear's kid is there, and I walk up to him, and he goes, "You're just Max Sledd."
It's how
so disappointed that
I would
Doink the Clown didn't show up.
I would say Doink would be my most favorite. I Doink.
That's terrific. So who is the most overrated wrestler in professional wrestling?
No, I can't go there. I don't know. Hell, I'd have to think on it. I'm sure there's several. Hell, I might be one of them.
What's the best entrance that you've ever seen in professional wrestling or that you've ever had in professional wrestling where you come out and it's like, oh, man, that was it. Like maybe you don't notice it even at first, but you watch it back.
Always am a fan of like Triple H Mania entrances and even like Cena's there at the end. Man, those two, that was cool shit. Like when Stephanie was coming out and they had trips on the fucking like the thing with the skull throne and she was man, that was tough stuff.
You know, sometimes people will say that that's you.
Although, you know, Sean, I know. Sean coming
Trailer
from
Park
the top.
Triple H.
Yeah, that's true. Sean coming from the top was pretty cool. You know, that was a moment I feel when he flew down in Houston. He come from the top.
Oh yeah. Yeah, really, really, really cool. And what about yourself personally? Any entrances that you remember? Or it's just another day at the office.
Yeah, it's another day at the office for Larry.
I tell you, one day that was not a regular day at the office is I remember me and you being in the ring back to back, and we're sitting there and we've got our fists up, and it's, "Are you ready?" Boom, boom. And it's like, what the? Like we look at each other, it's like, what world are we in that we're like facing off here with like DX?
We're in like the independent wrestling dimension.
Yeah, it's so weird. Things that, you know, we grew up in that Attitude Era. We had to suck it T-shirts, and you know, I remember so many
we'd be
shirts.
standing there and hear that over the loudspeakers. We have made it.
That's it. Yeah, we had for that night. We had made it. You beat Billy Gunn. Like what?
Yeah, man. I got to crotch chop Billy Gunn, and
Billy Gunn is never kicked out of my cutter.
My little Quang got to choke him. We stood over top with the world title of New South Wrestling.
Who's the most underrated worker in professional wrestling? You wouldn't say who the most overrated is. Who's underrated? Who's a guy that you see and you're like, man, and then that's whether it's the WWE, if it's AEW, or you look around. I think I'd prefer you to mention somebody on this level to where it's like you look at them and you're like, this guy, if he just gets that opportunity, he's going to make it. He's going to be something.
You talking about locally?
Yeah.
Adam Swayze.
So good. I love Adam Swayze. He knows who he is, and he can get heat or he can get sympathy, whatever he's going for.
Yeah.
He gets so underrated.
Yeah, Adam Swayze.
What's the best match you feel like you've ever had? I think we've answered that before.
I believe it was probably Gresham. Well, gosh, I don't know. I've advanced so much since Gresham. I'd have to really think on that one and tell you next week.
Who do you feel on this level has the best mic skills that you hear?
On this level?
Yeah.
Like TV or
I mean, you can mention on TV if you want to.
Nah, well,
but I think it means around
MJF.
here.
I feel, but around here, I feel like Kellen Craven's really good.
You think so? I think I don't know. Like he's very good at doing what we teach is that you don't need to cut that screaming wrestling promo. You have to believe it. And I you know what? I would have to agree with you. I think that he is very good at hitting on that emotional level.
Yeah.
I want to
He
get.
hit
I just
that
want to
far quicker than he did the in-ring.
I want to see the guy come out of his box even
I
more.
think
He's
Big
going to be.
Flexor.
He's going to be big.
I think Alexis
man.
also.
Alexis Littlefoot is already like big time ready on that microphone.
That's if she makes it out of fucking bar brawl against my little Queen.
That's it. I mean, the main event of this women's show is a dream partner tag match, but it's not just a regular tag match. It's a bar brawl, and it's the main event. We're going to settle some scores. The dreamer, your wife, your little Queen, Paige Jones, can find any partner she wants to take on the big Flexa.
I'm gonna have to give
Lexington's own Alexis Littlefoot, and whatever partner she can find. And it could be an interesting night at Bar Brawl. We can see anything happen in Generation Next Pro Wrestling.
You know, I'm gonna have my woman look for another woman.
What? You're gonna have your woman look for another woman?
Well, she needs a partner at Bar Brawl. What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm not talking about. I'm just asking the questions,
You
man.
sick
Don't get mad at the guy that is asking the
Just
question.
trying to find a unicorn horn here, son.
You know what they say? They say if you turn a pineapple upside down in your shopping cart while you're shopping, that's how other people in the store know you're a swinger.
You see those TikToks sometimes. They walk around and it's like, yeah.
They know you're a swinger. And speaking of swingers, tell us about your relationship with Johnny Swinger.
Johnny Swinger's the man. Johnny Swinger's such a great guy. He helped me out my first time down there at the NWA. He got me extra time with the office. And it was just great, man. I love Swinger. I can't ask for a better guy. Every time I see him out on the indies, every time it's just a great chat, great conversation.
What is the win or loss in your career that made you, that you really feel like that was the match that you had, the win or loss that you had, that was like, regardless win, lose, or draw, this right here said, I'm off to the races?
I really think it was that run with Aaron Williams, and when I won the TPI, I feel like now I'm off to the races. You know, I feel like that because I was on my way. I was getting in great shape. I was, my body of work was awesome, I feel, and Aaron and I always had great matches. I feel like that win there, those TPIs and things like that really excelled me.
What was the best storyline that you've ever been a part of? Worst storyline you've ever been a part of? And what was something that you did in your career? It's a 3-part question that you feel like it was just, there was food left on the table. There was so much more you could have got.
I think obviously there's so much food left on the table at Impact. That's the answer. I feel like the best angle that I was in, and this was many years ago, but it did great business for the time, was with Kelly Charles because it was real. Like, people believed it. Like, that gave me a hint of like how real we can hook people in the business and draw money. I knew that at a very young age with Kelly Charles. I still feel like that was the best, very best angle that I had because it drew so much money.
If you had a job within professional wrestling that wasn't a wrestler, what would it be?
Match agent. 100% match agent.
And you had talked about your best with Kelly Charles, but it was a 2-part or a 3-part question actually. So, what was your worst angle in professional wrestling?
Oh gosh, I remember we did one where they had us win the company, and then there was just no direction.
They had a birthday party right afterwards.
And then they did like a birthday party, and they sang "Happy Birthday" after the heels have won the company. I thought it was just the shittiest of shit ever.
I remember one time that you were like I don't know if you were the best man or you were the maid of honor in a male on male wedding.
No.
Just so many silly things that we get into.
I can't even remember.
Wrestling.
There's more silliness than goodness. So
yeah,
the silliness is it's dime a dozen.
And you said that you feel like the left on the table was just anything at Impact right
100%,
now.
100%. Yeah.
Great. So with all this being said, that's going to wrap up this episode. That was the end of the road, but it's so funny and it's fitting that, yes, it is the end of your time at Impact Wrestling, but it is definitely not the end of the road.
No, sir.
For legendary Larry D, and it's not going to be the end of the road for the Me, Max, and the Mike podcast, because we're going to come back next week, and I'm not sure yet what we're going to talk about. I don't know what.
I'm excited. I was talking today. I wonder what we're going to talk about. I love the fact that you just hit me with you got the topics. I just like to talk about them.
Hey, I think I'm going to let the fans speak, see what they would be interested in hearing, but if not, then I promise you within a day or so, me and you will talk and we'll figure out a good topic for next week's episode because so much to talk about, so little time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for listening to me, Max, and Mike. We can't do this without each and every single one of you. I'm Mr. Everything Max Sledd. This is Legendary Larry D, and this is the only podcast that is truly everything
legendary.
Let's go. We'll see you next week.